Hello everybody, it's Tim here in another video, this time for a review for Exorcist Believer. Exorcist the Believer is directed by David Gordon Green, who did like a Halloween trilogy that was a direct sequel to the original film. Here he pretty much tries to do the same thing with Exorcist by doing a direct sequel to the original film. This did not work. I'll just go ahead and say it. Like, I saw the bad reviews for this and I was like, can it be that bad? I mean, come on now. Like, his Halloween reboot, the first one from 2018, I really liked it. I think it's the best sequel of the series. It's not a absolutely fantastic movie. The movie has dropped a little in my eyes, mostly because of the fact that it pretty much builds itself up like H2O with Laurie taking down Myers. But you know there's going to be a sequel, so that kind of hurts the movie a little. It would have been stronger as a standalone flick, in my opinion. As it is, though, watching it now, I'd probably give it a 3.5 out of 4. It's still really good, though, and easily the best sequel in the franchise, in my opinion. Halloween Kills, it was decent for what it was, a Michael Myers slash-a-thon. Like, if you really... I don't get why some Halloween fans hate that one. Like, it's not that good, but it's not that terrible either. There's much worse movies in the series. And I'm sorry if you hear a lot of traffic going by or whatever. Once again, I always have to reiterate this. I do my videos outside mostly now, but Halloween Kills is nowhere near the worst movie in this series. It's just the basic Myers slash-a-thon. There's just not a lot of Jamie Lee Curtis in it. And it felt like David Gordon Green always wanted to try to elevate the series to make it more than just about like Michael Myers or whatever, and to try to have like these deep social commentary themes or whatever. And they never really meshed that well. At least not in this case, in this one. They never really meshed that well in the movie, with the whole town going crazy or whatever. I kind of like it, but at the same time, it just kind of takes away from the Michael Myers aspect of the movie and just kind of takes the movie off on like a side quest for a little while that really amounts to nothing. But overall, as it is, it was decent. I'd give it like a 2.5 out of 4. I still stand by that. Decent time killer. I liked it for what it was. Halloween Ends I actually enjoyed. I gave it like a 3 out of 4. I still stand by that. It is a good movie. It's just not a good Michael Myers movie because there's not a lot of Michael Myers in it. But as a movie in the Halloween series that does something different, if you can just accept it for what it is and the new direction it takes, I think it's easily a good one and much better and better written than Halloween Kills easily. But it's just not a good Michael Myers movie. Now we jump into this movie right here. Exorcist the Believer. It pretty much wants to be a direct sequel to the original Exorcist. Now, The Exorcist is a much higher caliber movie than Halloween. Now, I love Halloween. I think Halloween, the original, is the best slasher movie of all time, but The Exorcist is still a much higher bar movie than that. So doing a direct sequel to that is going to be much harder because it's not just a standard slasher movie. It's a drama. It's about, like, horrific possession and good versus evil and all that, and friggin' like faith versus non-faith and lack of faith and doubts of faith and everything. Like, that movie's got so many deep layers, much more than what Halloween had. So it's going to be much harder to execute a sequel that lives up to that one. And that's part of the reason why this does not work. I think what David Gordon Green tried to do here was to do pretty much what he did with Halloween 2018, which is like make a basic sequel like he kind of did with that one, where he was making something true to the spirit of Carpenter. I think he tried to do something similar to that with this by making just like a basic sequel, having 2 girls possessed instead of 1, and it's just a standard possession movie. But that's the biggest problem with the movie. The movie just doesn't do anything new at all, and that's more of a problem here because Michael Myers, he works best when he is a simple concept. The Exorcist works better when you try to bring something more to the table than just a basic possession movie, which is what this pretty much is. This is just a regular possession movie that you've seen 1,000 times. It's been out like 1,000,000 times before since The Exorcist. And there's just nothing new here. That's just the biggest problem with the movie. I like that they bring back Chris McNeil, though, who was in the original movie as the mom. They give her that stupid line, which is all over Twitter already, where people are talking about it, where she's like, where the dude's like, why wouldn't they let you in to watch the exorcism or whatever? And she's like, I think it was because I wasn't a member of the patriarchy or something. That was stupid. I can't believe that was put in the movie. That's such a bad line. But yeah, it was still neat to have her back. And then they just get rid of her like a couple minutes later, which was pretty wasteful. But on the other hand, she gets her eyes like stabbed with a crucifix or whatever, blinded and put in the hospital by the possessed girl, the white one. There's a white girl and a black girl gets possessed. And I do kind of like it that they had the balls to do that to like a legacy character from the first movie, but at the same time, they just take her out of the movie after that. And she does nothing for the rest of the film. So it felt really wasteful. Really, like, it's pointless to even have the character back. Like, I admired the balls to do that to a legacy character. But then you just do nothing with her. Like, if she would have actually came back blind or something like that at the end of the exorcism and like really helped out or whatever, that would have been pretty cool. But at the same time, Chris McNeil's character, she's not an exorcist or anything, so she doesn't really have much knowledge about this field besides what she's already been through. There's not really a big lot she can really do to help, honestly, except maybe recommend a priest or something from the same church that she got Father Damien from or whatever, and Karis. So there's not really much you can bring to it, and we get a cameo at the end from Linda Blair, Reagan McNeil, who shows up to visit her mom in the hospital or whatever. I thought that was kind of sweet. It was cool to see Linda Blair again for just a little bit. You know, obviously to build her up for a bigger role in the sequel, because this is a planned trilogy. That might be another problem with this. Like David Gordon Green, one of his problems I do feel like is that he tries to stretch stuff out into a trilogy. Like I think Halloween 2018, you could easily take that and combine Halloween Kills and just make that into one slightly longer but more epic Halloween film. And I think that would work better if you just did that as one film and then went straight from that film to Ends. I think that would work better and smoother. And you just introduce Corey in the first movie in like a small role, and just make the whole second movie about him. I think that would work much better, and I think this is probably what happened here. Is he tried to stretch out his ideas into 3 movies instead of just making it probably what should have been 2 at most. And I think that's probably one of the problems that happened here in terms of the script or whatever, which is why he didn't experiment too much with this, because he probably wanted to make the second one the more experimental one or whatever, which is supposed to be called Exorcist Deceiver, because this one's called Believer, where he does much more stuff. Where he does much more stuff like out of the box with the property is what I'm saying, instead of like this one where he just does like a basic exorcism movie. Another thing is they don't take advantage enough of what they do have here. I like the beginning of this, how the 2 girls are like friends, the black and white girl are, they just kind of disappear. And you see them like go down this little hole or whatever to like play a game. You get the idea that maybe she tried to like spiritually contact her mother or whatever, because the black girl's mother died like giving birth, and you find out that the dude or whatever, her father, like had to choose between saving the mother or the daughter, and he chose the child, of course. And so you get the idea that maybe she tried to like contact her mom or something, and then that's what caused the demon to take him over. And I get the idea that's not the same demon from the first movie or the other movies. It's not Pazuzu or whatever, the god of locusts, or the demon god of whatever the hell he was, locust creature from Exorcist the Heretic. But they don't do enough. I like the whole mystery angle of how they disappeared or whatever and all that. I like that. It's intriguing. When they show back up though, it's just basically a run-of-the-mill possession thing and just kind of repeats stuff from the first movie, where they're in the hospital acting weird and stuff like Reagan did and all that. It's just kind of the same shit. There's just not enough new here. Interesting setup. I like the idea of it, but they just don't do enough with it. And there's been so many possession movies since the original film that there's just not a lot new that you can really do with this subject matter without totally changing it. Exorcist 3 is easily the best sequel in this series, and even that one's not a great movie, but it is a pretty good movie in terms of a sequel to that original, which is one of probably the best horror film ever made. But yeah, they don't do anything new with it. Like, they got both girls possessed, and they're like, I think in one moment in the movie, I believe it was in the trailer too, where they're like, their hearts are in sync or all that and everything, but they don't really do anything with it, with the fact that they're both possessed at the same time, where there's 2 girls possessed. Like, you could have shown them like maybe like getting off there, like merging together or something. I don't know, some kind of crazy shit or something. I mean, if you can't like do the drama, bring the drama like for that the original had, go crazy with it, more wild with it, and have like more of just like a chaotic, fun horror movie with it. But they don't really do enough with it, with like the whole idea of both these girls being possessed. Like, there's really nothing done with it. Most of the movie is focused on the black girl and her father and the drama relationship with him. What we do get, which isn't much, really, you could have just cut the white girl out, even though the actress the young actress who plays the white girl, whatever, the white character, white female, whatever the hell, she does good too. Both the acting between the kids are fine. But you could have just cut her character out, to be honest. And when you get to the end of the movie, it's like the demon's like, you got to choose one to save. And the black guy's like, I won't choose. And the white dude is the father of the white girl. He's like, I choose my daughter. And of course, the demon's like, hey, fuck you. And takes the white girl to hell. And the black girl gets unpossessed. I mean, the demon's defeated and goes away, but he takes the white girl so to hell. So it's a depressing ending, pretty much, because the white girl gets screwed over. So it's sad on that. But also at the same time, you get the idea, obviously, that probably in the sequel it's going to be about them like rescuing the little white girl's soul or something from hell, and you'll probably get a scene where she ascends to heaven or something, and that'll show her spirit at peace and all that. You'll probably get something like that in the sequel, which they will make. I know this one probably slightly underperformed from expectations, but it still made enough to justify at least another one. David Gordon Green's been hinting that he may not come back, or at least that's been what's been rumored. He probably won't, because of the fact of how bad the reviews for this one were, which I wouldn't blame him, really. So if he doesn't come back, they'll just get somebody new to do it, and they'll probably take ideas from the third one and just combine it into the second one to make it more like one movie instead of a Plan 3. And then if Part 2 does really well, then they'll cram another one in there just to try to fit it. And they'll beef up, of course, Linda Blair's role in the sequel. But yeah, so it just kind of ends on a whimper. I mean, with a little girl, a white girl's like a little white girl, so like going to hell or being dragged to hell over by the demon. So depressing. But then it ends with like the black girl in the school or whatever looking over at her friend's desk. You know, she's missing now and all that because, you know, she's dead. So it kind of ends sad. Overall, this is a low 2-star film. I do not hate this film. For a bunch of it, it did suck, even in other parts where it did have some potential. If you just watch it as just like a generic Exorcist movie and you don't compare it to the original, then it's probably okay. But as it is as a sequel to that original, it's a low 2-star for me. I don't hate this film. It's a passable one-off watch. I would never watch this again unless I was just like, you know, having an Exorcist marathon or something. But this film, it didn't need to be made. Like, if you were going to do a direct sequel to the original, you should be able to come up with something better than this at this point, script-wise. But yeah, it's just really, it's a forgettable movie. And it's just, there's not a lot here. This movie will be forgotten just like all the other Exorcist sequels. Is it the worst sequel in the series? It's not the worst, like, written or made sequel in the series. This is a better movie than Exorcist Heretic, but it's not as entertaining because Exorcist Heretic is just more silly. This is also a better written movie cohesively than Exorcist the Beginning, but Exorcist the Beginning is more entertaining than this one. Sometimes a movie can be worse than another, but be more entertaining. Like, this movie suffers from just being dull, just not having much going on. So in a way, it is the worst of the series just because of the fact that it's just dull, even if it is slightly better written cohesive-wise than some of the other ones. It's just more dull because they just don't do anything do enough with the ideas they got here. They don't bring enough new. So it's just like a passable one-off watch random exorcism movie. That's pretty much it. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you again.